Before we begin, please hit that like button, share, and subscribe for more. Thanks for being part of the story. Soon the driver's side door opened and the man stepped out. His face was pale, his hands trembling. He took a few uneven steps before his legs gave out, and he collapsed onto the pavement. I asked, "Hey, are you all right?" But his reply made my skin crawl. That night is burned into my memory, even though it's been nearly 10 years. At the time, I was working as a salesman, a job that demanded constant travel. My days weren't measured in hours, but in miles, driving across endless stretches of road, city after city, meeting clients, delivering orders, shaking hands, repeating the same cycle again and again. With a lifestyle like that, I often found myself in unfamiliar places at unfamiliar times, sometimes on deserted back roads, sometimes on highways that seemed to stretch forever into the night. Over the years, I've seen things I can't explain, things that make no sense, no matter how many times I turn them over in my mind. Some encounters faded like passing dreams. Others, like the one I'm about to share, stayed with me, haunting me in ways I never expected. It happened during a routine work trip, or at least that's how it began. I had been sent to meet a client in a remote town, a place so far off the map that even the GPS struggled to guide me. I left late in the morning, stopped a few times for food and fuel, and arrived at the site just as the evening shadows began to lengthen. The meeting went smoothly enough, papers signed, hands shaken, polite smiles exchanged. By the time I was done, the sun had already sunk behind the trees, leaving the sky painted in deep purples and fading light. I searched for a nearby motel, but the place was too remote, just a scattering of buildings, silence pressing in from every direction. After a moment's thought, I decided to just drive home instead of wasting time looking for a place to stay. It was a long journey, but at the time, it seemed better than spending the night stranded in the middle of nowhere. The plan was simple: head home as quickly as possible, even if it meant driving through the night. But the road has a way of twisting plans into something else entirely. I chose what seemed like the faster route, a shortcut. It was a narrow, uneven road, one where every bump rattled the car and every curve demanded caution. The trees pressed close on both sides, their branches looming like dark figures in the headlights. The farther I drove, the more it felt like the forest was swallowing me whole. Locals had a name for that stretch of road. I didn't remember it at the time, but I'd heard whispers before. Eerie, haunted, cursed with bad luck. To me, it simply felt unsettling. The headlights carved only a small tunnel through the darkness, and beyond that, there was nothing but blackness. I had just begun to settle into the silence when something jolted me. Another set of headlights appeared suddenly, flaring in my side mirror before streaking forward. I turned my head just in time to see a pickup truck, an older model, looked like a delivery vehicle, barrel past me at alarming speed. At first, it looked ordinary enough. I wasn't driving fast, so it made sense that someone in a hurry would overtake me. But then I noticed it. The truck wasn't right. A large, faded white tarp hung from the side of the truck bed, flapping wildly in the wind. The driver didn't seem to notice it wasn't tied down properly. It didn't look secured at all, and my stomach tightened at the thought of something heavy tumbling out onto the road. I flashed my headlights to warn the driver. For a second, I expected him to slow down, maybe pull over to fix it. Instead, the opposite happened. The truck surged ahead, speeding faster into the night. The way it accelerated so suddenly, it was almost as if it was running from something. For a brief moment, I feared that I had inadvertently startled him, making him go faster and increasing the chance of an accident. The truck was clearly overloaded. Its cargo bed was stacked precariously high, covered only by a frayed tarp that thrashed wildly in the wind. Yet despite its dangerous state, the truck barreled down the highway with reckless speed, weaving as though the driver had no regard for the weight he carried. The sight made my stomach tighten. If even one tire burst, or if the driver swerved the slightest bit, it wouldn't only be his life at risk, it would be mine too. I decided to ease off the gas and allow some distance to build between us. That's when I noticed something strange. From a distance, I noticed long, thin shapes protruding from the truck's rear. They poked out beneath the tarp, swaying and flapping with every gust. At first glance, they looked like bamboo poles, sticking out awkwardly, shifting as the truck sped forward. But something didn't feel right. I couldn't let it go. My eyes stayed fixed on the vehicle, partly out of curiosity. After a long, lonely, boring drive, even the smallest things strangely grab your attention. Despite the load, the truck maintained a disturbingly high speed, the tarp snapping so hard I thought it would tear away at any second. The longer I stared, the stronger the dread grew inside me until finally I decided I couldn't trail behind it any longer. I flicked on my signal and prepared to overtake. Slowly, I edged to the side, watching for an opening. When it cleared, I pressed the accelerator and pulled up alongside the truck ahead. That's when I saw her. A woman. My blood ran cold. She was clinging to the side of the truck, her pale arms outstretched toward the driver's window, her face pressed against the glass, her long black hair whipped violently in the wind, strands snapping across her hollow face. But her body was the part that froze me in horror. Her torso hung twisted against the side panel, dangling at an impossible angle, and the bamboo poles I thought I'd seen sticking out the back. They weren't poles at all. They were her legs, long, thin, impossibly stretched, dragging past the back of the truck bed, swaying as the truck sped on. My hands went cold on the steering wheel. Every hair on my body stood on end. With a gasp, I quickly swerved back into my lane, falling behind the truck, keeping a safe distance. For 10 endless minutes, I followed, too shaken to do anything else. The road stretched endlessly into the night, dark and empty, the truck's taillights glowing like blood-red eyes ahead of me. Finally, a faint glow appeared in the distance, a gas station sign flickering in the darkness. The pickup truck veered off and pulled into the lot. Still shaken, I followed, unable to resist, as though I had to see what would happen next. The truck rolled into an empty parking space beneath a light, the engine rumbling to a stop. I parked a short distance away. For a moment, nothing happened. The woman was already gone by the time the truck pulled under the light. Then the driver's side door swung open. A man stepped out. His face was pale, his hands trembling. Under the light, I saw the dark stain on his pants. It was clear he had wet himself. Stumbling forward, he managed only a few steps before his legs gave out, and he collapsed onto the pavement. Cautiously, I approached. "Hey," I called, my voice unsteady. "Are you all right? Why didn't you secure your tarp properly?" It was flapping all over the place. The man lifted his head slowly. His eyes were wide, glassy with terror, and his lips quivered as though forming words he could barely bring himself to say.
You saw it too, didn't you?"
I froze, every muscle in my body tense, but I couldn't lie. My voice shook as I nodded. "Yes, I saw her too. I thought I was losing my mind." The man squeezed his eyes shut and let out a shuddering breath. After that, neither of us spoke again. We simply sat there in silence, too terrified to head back on the road. Neither of us dared to close our eyes until the first light of morning crept over the horizon. Later on, I learned the truth, or rather, the rumors. We weren't the only ones who had seen her. Other drivers who traveled that lonely stretch of highway had reported the same apparition. A woman clinging to the side of a vehicle, her body twisted, her legs dragging impossibly long behind. Sometimes she appeared on trucks, sometimes on buses, always the same figure, always vanishing without a trace. No one knows who she was or how she came to haunt that road. Some say she was a woman killed in a horrific accident. Others whisper that she was abandoned there, left to die, and now seeks vengeance against any driver who dares to pass through. All I know is this: she is still there, clinging, waiting, watching on that dark, endless road.